My name is Jason Gordon. I'm owner and president of Total Turf Incorporated. Total Turf was incorporated back in August of 2001, so we're coming up on our 21st year. Total Turf basically performs landscape construction services as well as landscape maintenance services throughout Westchester and Fairfield County. We're also the local celebrity greens dealer here in Westchester and Fairfield County, which supplies and installs synthetic turf for backyard turf as well as backyard putting greens. The reason why Total Turf started to look for someone like Andy Gray and Strategy Leaders back in 2008 is not a real complicated answer. You know, if everyone remembers what the economy was like back in 2008, you know, we were having a huge bank collapse of the banking industry and things were looking pretty bleak. I met Andy Gray at the New York State Turf and Landscape Association event back in 2008. At that point, I felt like we would probably have a pretty good relationship, her being local to my area. I just felt comfortable at that point, and I decided to interview her a bit more, as well as her interview me. I knew that Strategy Leaders would be a good choice for me after interviewing with Andy. That I liked the fact she was local, I liked the fact that I could see her one-on-one, and generally speaking, I just had a good feeling with her. One of the things I remember most, starting with Strategy Leaders and working with Andy Gray, is that we had to build a 5-year plan, which included marketing, sales, finance, operations, human resource, all these different aspects of the business that every business owner should be aware of and should be working on. And I can clearly tell you I was not working on all those areas. If anything, I was working on operations, and that's generally it. And Andy brought to my attention probably halfway down the road of our experience together. She called me out on it. A lot of times she'll present something to me that's a change, and I'll be like, I don't know how that's going to happen. And then 2 weeks later, I'd be like, okay, I figured out a way. So it became quite evident that Andy was pushing me. Andy is pushing me in a direction that may be outside my comfort zone. And I learned about myself that I can get there. So that's the biggest takeaway that I had. When Total Turf came across possible business acquisitions throughout the past years, we leaned on Andy Gray and Strategy Leaders to get a good opinion on whether the valuation was there. From that point forward, we leaned on them to deal with issues that came up, whether it was HR issues or a sales and marketing issue. But those were the main points that we hit on when we had to start our acquisition process. Would Total Turf buy a company or acquire another company without consulting with a Strategy Leaders type consultant? Absolutely not. No way. I mean, I might be confident to a degree, but to do it without a consultant like Strategy Leaders, in my opinion, would be foolish. Total Turf, since we started with Strategy Leaders, has changed its revenue probably 5-fold. We've gone from probably a dozen or so employees to 4 dozen now. Customers, we've grown that clientele as well, and we've acquired 2 businesses as well. Total Turf probably would not be as successful as it is today if it had not hired Strategy Leaders back in 2008. Without the knowledge I gained from hiring Strategy Leaders and going through their program, I wouldn't have had the tools that I have today to evaluate and take a look at things or opportunities that come my way. So it was imperative, I think, to hire Strategy Leaders in order for me to get where I am today.